From the land of melting lakes, this is 10,000 Takes, brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Twin Cities sports scene. And Wally, typically we're on radio Monday through Friday, but we're on the television once in a while, including now. And boy, do we have a plate overflowing with topics.
Smokes. This weekend kept us busy, huh?
Yeah, it's supposed to be downtime. Forget about it.
Yeah. Late Friday night, early Monday morning. It just keeps coming. I guess start with the Wild, because that's the newest of the news. They've been struggling with defense and goaltending, so they go out and make a move. They get themselves a goaltender. Marc-Andre Fleury is now a member of the Minnesota Wild, and he's 38 years old. He's had his ups and downs this year, but he has history. He's the type of player that could lead you to a Stanley Cup run.
Yeah, no question. He's won 3 cups in Pittsburgh. Vegas and Fleury were in the Cup finals in the inaugural season for the Golden Knights. He was the Vezina Trophy winner last year in Vegas, which is the top goalie in the NHL. So he's got the pedigree. In Chicago, where he was most recently, didn't play as well, but that's not a very good team. From what I understand, I was looking at the Chicago Tribune earlier today. He was universally loved in the room by his teammates, so I think he's going to come into Minnesota and probably fit in well. And it's just another reminder, never believe what GMs or coaches or front office people tell you. A couple of days ago, Bill Guerin, the Wild general manager, says, well, you can't trade your way out of a situation. Well, this is the elephant in the room. Everybody knew the Minnesota Wild did not have a goalie with the chops to take you deep in the playoffs.
Right.
Now they have a guy that's done it. Will he do it? We'll see. But I think Minnesota had to make this move.
Yeah, they make a big move. And on top of it, I still think that it starts at the blue line. I still think that they have some problems defensively that they weren't anticipating, particularly this late in the season. They've been a very good offensive team this year, but defense has been the problem that has lurked and probably kept them from being an upper echelon team. Now, clearly, I still think they're going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to fall out of that. A couple of wins over the weekend, I think that kind of solidifies the thought that, yeah, they're on the right track, but they've got to fix this defensively. And it starts with Fleury and the blue line.
Yeah.
Let's see if all those things come together. Because, look, let's not forget that they gave away Ryan Suter.
True.
I mean, this is a guy, a stay-at-home defenseman that clearly was a leader and was depended on for years and has done a great job in Dallas. And now you don't have that type of guy. And so what's going to happen here? So you start with the goalie, I guess.
Yeah,
you make a trade for a great, an all-time great.
Your guys on the blue line have to mesh with the goalie. The goalie gets all the blame and the credit. But you're right. The guys ahead of him have to do their job. And I think I would expect this to energize the Wild. This is a message sent by the front office that, hey, we want to take that extra step. We believe we have the firepower to maybe win hockey games. And now we tighten up our goaltending situation, hopefully get better defensively, like you pointed out. I think also in this market right now, the Twin Cities, there's so much buzz around the Twins.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Vikings continue to try to put the pieces of that puzzle together with their new regime. The Timberwolves are trending up. Minnesota United's playing well. There's a lot of pressure. It's so competitive. This sports pie is, sliced up into a lot of tiny pieces. These teams now feel like, hey, we have to, garner headlines on our own. And the Wild did that by getting Fleury.
They did that, and that came, 2 days after the Minnesota Twins did it. The Minnesota Twins going out and signing Carlos Correa. I don't know that I have witnessed a bigger signing in the free agent market. Certainly not by the Twins. Maybe any team in this market since I've been here. Maybe bringing in Brett Favre. Is that kind of the same type of
I will
move?
say this is bigger because Correa's in his prime.
Well, he's
27, two-time All-Star, won a Gold Glove, World Series winner in Houston, played in 3 World Series, looked at as maybe the best defensive shortstop in MLB. Yeah, Brett Favre was huge. They had one good year. The second year was a clunker, but he was on the decline.
Although he was pretty good in the 1 year.
Well, he was.
He was
no
very
question.
good.
But this potentially, now again, Correa has 2 opt-outs.
Yeah.
He can leave after 2022 or 2023. So we don't know how long he's going to be in Minnesota. Carlos Correa wanted a 10-year deal. Now, I don't believe in those at all. I think that's fool's gold if you're an organization to pay anybody beyond 5 or 6 years. Too much can happen in a negative fashion. But, yeah, I think this Carlos Correa thing is huge. Twins territory has to be... Well, first of all, they all fainted. Every Minnesota Twins fan had to be revived with smelling salts. Correa literally wins the MLB lottery. He's the highest paid infielder now in Major League Baseball history, 4th highest paid player in the game. And he's coming to the Twin Cities. So I applaud the Twins. This is a bold, brash decision. But here's the reality. They still need more pitching.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's the bottom line here. I think with Josh Donaldson, and basically what they've done now is they took Donaldson's $21 million a year, and they said, okay, we'll pay an extra $14 million for Carlos Correa, and we're not on the hook for the rest of Donaldson's contract. Correa, maybe not. Maybe he will be here all 3 years. Maybe they win a bunch of baseball games this year, and he decides, you know what, I want to stay in Minnesota. I'll tell you one thing he's going to like. He's going to like hitting a target field. He's done well there against the Twins. He will do well as a Minnesota Twin. It is a right-hand hitter's ballpark, and he will do well at target field.
Career batting average at target field, .413, 26 for 63, 5 taters, 20 RBI in 15 games. So you're right. I think he's going to love the ballpark, and he should be a good fit. Look, the Astros are going to miss this guy. He was a key cog on all their success, whether they cheated or not. He is a superstar.
Oh, that's right. He's a cheater.
Now, Minnesota fans love him now.
We're going to boo him now?
Well, hey, I was at Bucks Timberwolves on Saturday, and I talked to A-Rod, who's T-Wolves co-owner and waiting, and I asked him about Carlos Correa, and he took a long pause, and he said, incredible move for the Twins.
Okay.
Direct words from Alex Rodriguez. And then he said, I love Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela also. He knows those guys from New York City, of course, with the Yanks.
Yeah, and they're both Minnesota Twins now and figure into at least their immediate future. Sanchez, played with A-Rod back in the day. So I think they're great additions as well. Urshela's a great defensive third baseman. Sanchez, not so much behind the plate, as we talked about last week. But, to have those pieces in, and for A-Rod to give you props, actually talk to you, I was amazed that he actually talked to you. Last time he blew you off.
A-Rod's going to get his people in touch with me, and we're going to get him on this show.
Okay.
That's a promise.
All right.
So
I'm holding you to that.
Stick around for that. Yeah, indeed. We'll have a lot of fun talking Timberwolves and Twins and Yankees and whatever else he wants to discuss. This is 10K Takes, your Carlos Correa ticket.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect. Earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
$10,000 takes, Wally and Eric, and we are going to continue to talk baseball, Major League Baseball, and of course the Twins with all their moves with Bob Nightengale. He is from USA Today. He is their columnist / MLB beat writer. And Bob, out in sunny Arizona, where I know today you're going to visit with the Cubs and the Reds, but it was the Twins that made all the noise over the weekend, signing Carlos Correa. What was your first thought when you heard that the Twins had picked up Carlos Correa as a free agent?
Yeah, shock. I mean, there was no rumors, no speculation of anything with the Twins. I mean, if you're going to pick a surprise, I mean, Twins would be, one of the last teams you'd pick. Them, Pittsburgh Pirates, Baltimore Orioles. But yeah, they had kept that thing so quiet. Usually things leak out. That's what the biggest shock. And you think, you don't think the Twins paying that kind of money when you're talking about, $35 million a year, which is a record for an infielder.
And Bob, it's really been a blizzard of activity for the Twins post-lockout. I mean, you look at Carlos Correa, Gary Sanchez, Gio Urshela, Sonny Gray, Dylan Bundy before the lockout. So it's a Minnesota makeover. But the key question is, how much better are the Twins than they were last year when they finished in last place? Can they contend with Chicago in the AL Central?
I think they can. I mean, I think last year was an aberration. I think even if they didn't do anything, they weren't going to be that bad again. They're probably the biggest disappointment in all of baseball. Them and the San Diego Padres. So, yeah, I mean, I think that division is wide open. You go from top to bottom, it's got to be the most competitive division in all of baseball. I mean, Kansas City keeps getting better. Detroit made a big push last year. You saw what they did. Twins will bounce back, and of course the White Sox will still be the team to beat. But I don't think that you're not going to see the White Sox running high like you did a year ago.
You didn't mention Cleveland. You're upsetting me, Bob.
Yeah, I mean Cleveland's got still got that pitching. You like to see them have some more offense. You keep waiting for them to step up and do something. And I think just because Cleveland's been so quiet, that's why we don't talk about them, because they haven't done anything.
Yeah, they really haven't. But as you mentioned, the Twins have been really busy. What do you think Correa does for the Twins overall? Because still, regardless of how you look at this, they still are going to need some more pitching.
They do. But at least you're thinking, okay, if they're going to spend $35 million, and let's face it, it's a one-year contract, Correa will have to get hurt or have an awful year for him to come back. But yeah, if they're going to spend $35 million on 1 year on this guy, you might as well keep on going. It doesn't make sense to just grab him and stop. It does make sense if you use this guy to, win a playoff berth and go on from there. And who knows, maybe he falls in love with the place and signs a long-term contract there, after the year.
Yeah, and one thing we know, MLB does not have a salary cap. So the Twins, if they choose, they can spend more money and sign more players. Is Carlos Correa, in your opinion, Bob, a guy who puts butts in the seats? And can he, if Minnesota gets to the playoffs, end that 18-game losing streak? Because I know he's been very successful in October with Houston.
Yeah, I mean, he's a dynamic player. I do think he'll sell tickets. With the Twins drought. And Carlos Correa was 10 years old the last time the Twins won a playoff game. That's how long it's been. And this guy's a winner and everything else, been in the playoffs a bunch of times. But let's be honest, he wants, if this was a regular off season, he would have got paid. He wants to get paid over $350 million. I don't know if the Twins ever do that, but that's, he needs to have a good season also to make sure he's got all the big boys waiting for him, next year.
And this obviously puts a halt, if not at least a slowdown, on Royce Lewis, right? I mean, the Twins prospect that's down in the minors right now, lost a year because of injuries. But, eventually they want him to be their long-term shortstop, I would think, unless for some reason, as you said, Correa decides that this is a great place to play.
Yeah, I mean, that was a plan that, he's missed the last 2 years, give him time. He should be ready by next year. So then, both sides will be happy. If Correa can get the Twins to the playoffs, get people excited again, and, let him make his $350 million, somewhere else while, Royce Lewis becomes a player everybody envisioned when the Twins drafted him.
Correa, as you said, he wanted the huge payday with the length of service being the key, 10 years. I'm of the belief, Bob, that's a mistake. We've seen it here in Minnesota with Joe Mauer, Josh Hamilton with the LA Angels, Albert Pujols. I would go 5 or 6 tops. Do you think there's a way maybe the Twins could get Correa in that range if he likes Minnesota, likes the clubhouse? Could that happen?
Yeah, I don't see Carlos Correa signing for under 8 years, 10 years with anybody. I mean, Twins gave him a 5-year deal if they want to give him $350 million. He wants to break Lindor's record. Remember, this contract here is very strange in the sense it's 105.3. So I asked, why the 0.3? And that way he becomes the highest infielder per annual average value, just over Anthony Rendon of the Angels. Rendon's contract is $35 million a year in the nose, so he won the extra $100,000. They should have just given $35 million and 10 cents or something just to make it. So it's a little bit of an ego thing. But no, There's no way he would sign for under $300 million with anybody.
All right, thanks, Bob. Great stuff as usual from Bob Nightengale, USA Today. And I think what you hear Bob saying is that Carlos Correa is probably only going to be here for 1 year. I mean, he's looking for that long-term deal so he could be the highest-paid infielder, long-term, and move on to something else. Because the Twins aren't going to pay him $350 million over 10 years.
Well,
that's not happening.
The Pollyanna viewpoint would be that he comes here, he likes it. He becomes part of the room with Byron and all the other guys, and he decides, all right, I want to stay in Minnesota. But that's not the business or practical end of it.
Right.
Here's a guy who's earned the right to get that kind of money. He's as good as anybody in Major League Baseball when it comes to position players. He's got the same accomplishments as a Mike Trout. And, oh, by the way, he's won a World Series. Mike Trout hasn't even been to one. So you start looking at it from Carlos's perspective. Look, with the lockout, all of a sudden you had no activity for a few months. And then it ends about 2 weeks ago, and there's this flurry. There's this tsunami of moves because things have to happen. So the Twins were in the right place at the right time to get him. They're paying him. He's getting compensated. He will play for at least 1 year in Minnesota. Who's to say that he doesn't stay here? But, yeah, as Bob said, he wants 10 years.
Yeah. And I don't think you're in a situation now that he also pointed out that the Twins make this move, so maybe they should reach out and get, another pitcher or two. Not just bringing in Joe Smith into the bullpen, not just bringing back Michael Pineda, which seems to be probably the most likely thing that they'll do at this juncture, but to actually go out and, get one more pitcher, whether it's by trade or by free agency, and add to what they already have. Because if you're going to pay him $35 million, I think Bob's absolutely right. If you're going to pay this guy $35 million, you might as well keep going, right, and try and win this year.
Well, yeah, the goal is to win. And, look at the LA Rams or the NFL. They said, forget about draft picks. We're going to go assemble these superstars and roll the dice for the 2021/2022 season, and it paid off. They won the Super Bowl. I don't know how the Rams are going to be next year. They probably won't win it, but they got the ring. So the Twins should have that same MO, in my opinion, Wally, and they do need a stud pitcher. And they have the money to go get another guy and pay him a ton if they want. Don't forget, Zach Greinke went to Kansas City.
That's right.
He's in the division.
He is in their division.
I thought that was a move that it didn't get a lot of traction and attention, but that's a big decision by the Royals.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what the Twins do here down the road, but they're probably going to have to do something other than Carlos Correa. They've got all their cards on the table. Let's see which ones they play now. We'll be back with more here on 10,000 Takes after this timeout. Stay with us.
Hey, why don't you try these? This shape will highlight your cheekbones.
And the color suits you beautifully.
Caring for your eyes is as important as ever, and it's never been easier. Schedule your eye exam at pearlvision.com.
Hi, I'm Larry McKenzie, head coach of Minneapolis North boys basketball. And when you're building a championship program, there are many components and many levels to that. One of the most important things is trust. And so when I think about cars, when I think about my grandbabies driving around, when I think about family, friends, or my former players, I go to this guy, David Jones, Shakopee Chevrolet. This is the man that I trust.
Hi, I'm David Jones, Special Finance Manager here at Shakopee Chevrolet. Go online right now and get your guaranteed credit approval at www.shakopeechevrolet.com/David Jones.
$10,000 Takes, Wally and Eric, as we continue along, and time now to talk some Timberwolves. I know you spent some time at Target Center this past weekend. You watched the Woofies, as we used to call them. They've gotten a lot better since then. Take out Giannis. Well, Giannis didn't play. They took out the Bucks minus Giannis. You were disappointed, though. You sent me a text. You said, don't bother coming. No Giannis today.
Yeah, I got there early with my kid Peyton, and we were getting some pictures for 10,000 Takes. And Bucks came out on the floor. There was a lot of buzz.
Right.
A lot of the Deer District showed up in the Warehouse District. Of course, this was a border battle, right? They only play twice a year. And I'm looking around going, wait a minute, there's no Giannis.
Oh, boy.
It was deflating because, A, he's probably the top player in the NBA, in my opinion. He only comes in here once a year. So this is your shot to see him, and he doesn't play. He had a hoodie on and a cap and some black jeans. And there were fans who drove in from western Wisconsin or Iowa or
Wherever.
the Dakotas,
Yeah.
outstate Minnesota, to see Giannis against Cat. Cat almost didn't play.
Oh, boy.
But luckily he did, and the T-Wolves turned it into a border bashing.
Yeah, well, and you sent me the text. You said, don't bother coming. No Giannis. So I didn't. I went over and watched the Loons.
I don't blame you. And look, the Timberwolves can't control who they play. They can only control their own business. They took care of it. Yeah, Minnesota United got the 1-0 win over San Jose. How about that? It was a trifecta on Saturday. Minnesota Wild, Minnesota Timberwolves, Minnesota United all win within a span of about 8 hours. That doesn't happen a lot in these parts.
No, and let me tell you, the Loon fan base, Minnesota United's fan base, they were out in droves on Saturday night. I think that the weather, coupled with the fact they haven't lost yet.
Yep.
I know they've got a couple of ties.
Third place.
They're in third place. So they're on a little bit of a roll. Now, San Jose's not very good. I'll tell you something that you have to pay attention to at this time of year over at Allianz Field. Man, the field was slick. I mean, well, let's face it, though. The snow just started melting here in the last week or so. So they've had a lot to deal with. But it was nice to see green grass, A, and B, they won the game despite the fact that the field was slippery, and it was just 1-0. There was only one goal, but the dark clouds were out, and all their chants and drum beats and snow or smoke. No snow, smoke. It was another.
Well,
good
it's
night.
a great setting over there, and Minu is more proof that you can embrace the elements,
right?
And your fan base will show up, and you can thrive in it. I mean, they took the total opposite approach of the Minnesota Vikings, who shriveled up and went back in a dome, that glass house. Minnesota United said no, because if you look at their schedule, I mean, they start in late February, early March, and they run it all the way into November or December. So they're running into some cold weather months too. And we saw the U.S. national team play in February on the frozen pitch. So, but they're not worried about the weather. They deal with it. And if you're San Jose and you're coming into Minnesota, tough.
Right. And they froze out the Honduran team when they came in.
Oh, boy. Well,
they weren't real happy about that.
That didn't help international relations with Central America.
It did not. Apparently, the new Vikings front office has a good relation with Danielle Hunter because they're going to bring him back. They're going to pay him a lot of dough to come back. Where are they coming up with all this cap room all of a sudden? Is Danielle Hunter and Kirk Cousins going to be the only players on the squad this year? I see that Adam Thielen's coming back too. So,
well,
they got 3 guys. Don't you need 11?
I'm convinced it's monopoly money. It's supposedly a capped league, right?
I know.
But Kirk Cousins comes back. They extend him. Danielle Hunter, as you said, they're going to get him back. Adam Thielen, Harrison Smith. They did some reworking. They turn these deals into bonuses, and that's why they probably hired Quasi Adolfo-Mensah. He's a Princeton guy. He can crunch numbers. He's smart. But in today's NFL, you have to be able to do that. So the Vikings have kept their core intact, but they haven't really made any splashy additions yet. I don't know if they will.
Yeah, and I think that the fan base is waiting for them to make that splashy addition, but I don't think how are you going to be able to do that? Now, they're still going to have to probably go out and get a D-back, don't you think? They're going to have to get a corner or another safety, and I see that they extended Harrison Smith, too. Now we're on that subject. So they're bringing all these guys back. I'm not so sure that it's the right move, but I guess we're going to find out. As you said, Quasi Adolfo-Mensah has got this thing all figured out, and he's trying to work through it with his new guy, KOC. That's what they're calling him now, Kevin O'Connell.
So it's Cam and KOC, huh?
Cam and KOC. I keep thinking of KFC when I hear that.
Well, we'll see which one turns into the Colonel. I'll say this. For the 15th straight year, they still need to fortify the offensive line.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, there are some holes there as well, no question.
It's too bad that KOC couldn't have convinced Von Miller to come to Minnesota off that LA Rams Super Bowl team, but instead he went to Buffalo because he loves Josh Allen.
Yeah. Probably a good move for him, too. All right, more to come, including takes of the day. You are watching 10,000 Takes right here on Minnesota Score Radio's 10,000 Takes TV show.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years.
I think they're perfect. try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
"10,000 takes on television." Wally and Eric with you. Thanks for tuning us in, and we've reached the final segment of the show. Takes of the day. Going to find out if you're an angry American, cranky Yankee, giddy Guardian, grumpy Guardian. Cleveland Guardians are now on the clock.
Stop saying that word.
What is it, though? What is your mood?
Well, actually, I'm going to talk some hockey. I'm going to stay away from baseball and that G word. So Saturday night, the CCH championship game in hockey. This is the Central Collegiate Hockey Association. Minnesota State, Mankato, taking on Bemidji State. The winner gets the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Now, Minnesota State's going to get in no matter what. Game is tied. They go into overtime. Minnesota State scores the goal in overtime. It's over. Celebration is on. They shake hands. They present the Mason Cup trophy. They're the winners. Teams of the Bemidji had already gone into the locker room. Well, some of the Bemidji players were looking on their phones and they saw a video that showed that the puck went underneath the actual net and didn't go around the goalpost. So the net had like slightly lifted up and the puck went underneath. They alerted their head coach. The head coach alerted Don Lucia, who, oh, by the way, was on the ice, the commissioner of the CCHA. They reviewed it. 55 minutes later, after all the presentations and all the handshakes were done, we got to play more overtime because the goal was not allowed. So they continue to play. They bring this was like an hour and 15 minutes after all this had happened. They bring them back. Fans were at the bars and wherever else came back into the arena. They got about 1,500 of them back in the arena. And a few minutes into the extra period, Minnesota State wins it anyway. So
wow.
There you have it. It's as a bizarre situation as you're ever going to see. I mean, literally handshakes, trophy presentation, photos, the whole 9 yards. They're taking their pads off in the dressing room. Come on back out. We're going to play more hockey.
So it was delayed gratification.
Yes, it was.
And the mood meter says you're a happy camper.
I am happy that they got it.
Yeah, that's a bizarre scene.
Yes, it is.
Thank goodness for cell phones. That never would have happened, 20 years ago. Right. Wow, things have changed, certainly technologically speaking. Well, all right, my take of the day, I'm going to send out the props and kudos to probably one of the most decorated U of M athletes in the history of the school, Gable Steveson, who won yet another NCAA wrestling title over the weekend in Detroit. For those of you keeping score at home, that's 3 NCAA championships for Gable. He's a 4-time Big Ten champion. Oh, by the way, he won a gold medal in the Olympics in Tokyo, and he came back to the U of M. That says a lot about, I think, his character and wanting to finish up with the Gophers and, complete what he started. It's been an amazing run. And next stop, looks like it's probably going to be WWE and maybe WrestleMania at Jerry World in Arlington, Texas, down there in the Metroplex in early April. So remember how Brock Lesnar blew up? Right. He was certainly a legend at the U of M. I think Gable Steveson was going to go down that road that Brock Lesnar has gone down. He might even be larger than Brock. We'll see how it goes.
Wow, is he going to go against Hulk Hogan or The Rock or somebody like that?
I think anything's in play. Yeah, and well, look at The Rock. He's in every movie and every commercial that you see. So that could be the future for Gable Steveson. But the Gophers should be proud. Yeah, he is one of them.
He certainly is. All right, very good for Gable.
Yeah, and we congratulate him and Minnesota State in hockey.
What a win-win it was this past weekend.
Yeah, all right. Let's FedEx out those thank yous. One to Rocky, Bob Nightengale from USA Today, our great crew here at the TV show. For Wally, I'm Eric saying so long. This is 10K Takes, your sports ticket.